I've always taken pride in my ability to see through the smoke and mirrors of a story. I'm a journalist, a skeptic by nature, trained to question everything, to confirm and cross-check. Ghosts, spirits, hauntings. These were the things of folktales and hyperactive imaginations. Nothing I would ever concern myself with. Until I was assigned to a story in a remote school in Misamis Oriental, Philippines. Misamis Oriental was like any other provincial town in the country, a close-knit community nestled within lush greenery, far removed from the bustling cities. The school, an old, colorful structure that served as the community's heart, was where I found myself on that fateful day. I remember feeling the difference in the atmosphere right when I arrived. A once lively schoolyard was now eerily quiet. I brushed off my discomfort, blaming it on unfamiliarity, and began my assignment. The story begins in a small, rustic room, dimly lit by a single bulb hanging from the ceiling. The walls are adorned with faded pictures of saints and religious figures, a common sight in rural Filipino homes. The air is thick with tension, and the only sound is the soft hum of the old ceiling fan. My first interview was with Anna, a 10th grader known for her vivacity. Now her eyes held an unsettling mixture of fear and sadness. As she described the chilling figure that haunted her dreams, her voice barely a whisper, I could feel the hairs on the back of my neck rise. "Can you describe the man you saw?" Anna hesitates, her eyes darting around the room as if expecting the man to appear at any moment.
He had a wide smile, too wide. His hair was unkempt, wild. His eyes were dark, almost black, and they seemed to glow in the dark. And his face was pale, almost ghostly.
Suddenly, Anna freezes, her eyes wide with terror. "Do you see that man now?" But before Anna can answer, she falls silent, too scared to even remember. The interview has to be cut. Then there was Maria, the student council president, a girl known for her strength and determination. Then Sophia, the youngest, was my last interview. Normally bubbly and full of life, her somber recounting of her encounter was heartbreaking. My investigation takes me around the rural town, a place where the modern world seems to have forgotten. The houses are mostly made of bamboo and nipa palm, surrounded by lush green fields and towering coconut trees. The people are simple, their lives revolving around farming and fishing. But beneath this idyllic facade, a sinister force is at work. As I reviewed the footage I gathered, I notice a pattern. Each victim tells a different story, but their demeanor is the same. As each student narrated their experience, I couldn't shake off the feeling of unease. It was almost as if a cold wind had crept into the sunny day. Watching the video footage from the school's administration was even more chilling. The girls' stories were coming to life on the screen. The ghastly figure, his sinister smile, his cold, lifeless eyes. It was enough to unnerve the strongest of skeptics. They all described the same figure. The smiling man. The smiling man was a figure that would send chills down anyone's spine. His presence was not marked by any supernatural glow or a monstrous appearance. Rather, it was his unnerving sense of humanity that made it all the more eerie. Each student had the same description of him. His face was pale, almost as if all life had been drained from it. His skin stretched thin over high cheekbones, the shadows accentuating a gaunt look. His hair was pitch black and unkempt, hanging limply around his face. But what stood out most were his eyes and smile. His eyes were hollow, the iris is a muted gray that held no warmth, only a cold emptiness. There was an intense stare that seemed to look right through you, giving off a feeling of being invaded, of being seen too deeply. But the most chilling feature was undoubtedly his smile. It was a grin that stretched unnaturally wide, revealing a set of straight, white teeth. The corners of his lips curled upwards in a grotesque mockery of cheerfulness. His smile held no happiness, no humor. Instead, it was filled with a sinister satisfaction, as if he derived pleasure from the fear he instilled. This visage, ordinary in its elements but extraordinary in its effect, was the terrifying figure that haunted the students. The image of a man, seemingly ordinary yet tinged with an otherworldly eeriness, would forever be etched into their memories as the smiling man. His terrifying smile, the coldness of his gaze, and his disturbing presence was a chilling reminder of their encounter with the unknown. The school administration calls for a priest to perform a blessing, an exorcism. When the priest starts to perform the ritual, I found myself clutching my notebook in anxiety, my palms sweating. The room felt colder, the silence deeper. As the ritual commenced, my skepticism began to crumble. I felt a knot in my stomach as I stood in that room, filled with tension and fear. When the ordeal was over, the school seemed to breathe a collective sigh of relief. Life started to go back to normal, laughter replacing the silence, joy replacing fear. As I watched this transformation, I couldn't shake off my own transformation, the erosion of my skepticism, replaced by an understanding that there were things in this world that I could not explain. The students, still shaken from their experiences, returned to school after the blessing ceremony. They moved in groups, never alone, their eyes darting around nervously. The once lively schoolyard was now filled with an eerie silence, the laughter and chatter replaced by hushed whispers and hurried footsteps. Despite the church's intervention, the students couldn't shake off the feeling of being watched. They would often catch glimpses of a figure in the corner of their eyes, only for it to disappear when they turned to look. The figure was always the same, a man with a chilling smile, his eyes devoid of any warmth. The students started to avoid certain areas of the school, especially the old building where most of the sightings occurred. They would take longer routes just to avoid passing by it. He's back. The smiling man is back. Just when I thought it was over, that I could go back to my normal life, a scream echoed across the schoolyard. All eyes darted to the old building, the origin of the terror. The fear was back. I felt my heart pounding as I sprinted towards the building. To be continued. According to the source, the school in question is located in the province of Misamis Oriental in the Philippines. The students, who are high schoolers, reported seeing a white lady and a smiling man wandering the school grounds. These apparitions are common figures in Filipino folklore, often associated with malevolent spirits or entities. The students' experiences were not limited to sightings. Some reported physical manifestations of these spirits, such as being slapped or strangled by unseen hands. Others claimed to have heard eerie voices or felt a chilling presence. The fear and panic among the students escalated to the point where some were fainting or experiencing fits. In response to these incidents, the school administration decided to temporarily close the school. They sought the help of the local church, which conducted a blessing ceremony in an attempt to cleanse the school of any malevolent spirits. The school was reopened after the ceremony, but it's unclear whether the students' experiences ceased after this intervention.